And before Prabhu starts, we request Indra Krishna Prabhu to give a quick intro of Mani Gopal Prabhu. Though Mani Gopal Prabhu needs no introduction, but for the benefit of those people who are joining today for the first time, Prabhu, you can quickly say a few words about Mani Gopal Prabhu, and then Mani Gopal Prabhu can start the class. Hare Krishna. Welcome Indra Krishna Prabhu and Mani Gopal Prabhu also.
Thank you, Jai Govind Prabhu. Dandavat pranam to everybody here. Welcome, Mani Gopal Prabhu. Dandavat pranam to you. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank Mani Gopal Prabhu for coming online and taking all the trouble and all the effort to give the introduction to Chaitanya Charitamrita over a four Friday classes. So last week we heard about the Madhi Leela. Today we are seeing the first half of Madhi Leela. So Mani Gopal Prabhu, as now most people devotees have know him very well now. So he needs no introduction, but for a quick one, Mani Gopal Prabhu has been in ISKCON for over 20 years. He joined ISKCON when he was only about 8 years, giving classes in Bhagavad Gita, and at the age of 11, he took initiation from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. So he has got a master's degree in business international relations, and he has been serving the movement for quite many years, giving classes on Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also he's serving JPS office, and he is a person who takes care of all the initiations and checks the devotees' credentials. So he's been doing great service, and we have been fortunate to hear from him on Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, and we are all fortunate to hear him again. So over to you, Mani Gopal Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for giving us the opportunity to purify ourselves by having the time with Krishna Lila, with Chaitanya Lila, over the overview of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we welcome all the devotees to the second day of our synopsis of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So let's all begin with Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhav Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jai Radha Madhav Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Gaur Premanande Hari Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishna Vatale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Namo Acharyapadaya Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishna Vatale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Deshtai Vanchakalpati Veshakipasam Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangam Lambhati Girim Yatrapad Mahamande Shri Guru Paramananda Mahatma Panchagura Shikha Guruvan Pratham Vandana Krishna Ajanulambita Bhujo Kanaka Vadato Sanke Tanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Vishambharo Dijabaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karuna Pataro. Hare Krishna. Mm, okay. So, welcome everyone to the second session of our Chaitanya Charitamrita. we have been going through the different chapters of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita to see how Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami has written this most authentic scripture on the biography, life history of Lord Sri Chaitanya. As we were seeing on the first day, some of you might be remembering the various points. Especially, we are discussing why this book, specifically Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, was composed by Krishnadas Kaviraj. The specific reason behind it, and that how Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, who was the first author on Lord Chaitanya's life sketch, he has penned down the book called Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, but which is mostly about Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Though he started his endeavor on account of writing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's biography, but he ended with lots of pastimes of Lord Nityananda, and thus there is a need of a another book on the later pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his post sannyas period. In the book Chaitanya Charitamrita, he has already written, Vrindavan Das Thakur has already written the pre-sannyas pastimes, especially the Navadip Leela, and later on he kept the book short so that it doesn't become a big voluminous book, and somehow he described the post-sannyas pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like a formula, like a small points, but he did not go on elaborating that. And therefore, the Brajavashis, the residents of Vrindavan at that time, they requested Krishnadas Kaviraj, who had heard from Raghunath Das Goswami, he personally heard from him all the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nilachal Puridham. So therefore, he was the most appropriate person to write down the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nilachal and Vrindavan and his South Indian tour. So we have discussed about the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya. On the first day, we mostly discussed the Mangalacharan and the introduction of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So today we are practically entering into the subject matter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the previous day we finished with chapter 8, and today we are gonna see what is there from chapter 9. So on the chapter 9, it has been described. The chapter 8 ended with, as you may remember, that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami got the blessings from all the Brajavasis to write down this book. And he literally started to write the book from this chapter onwards. I mean, this is the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can say like that. So in the 9th chapter, he has described that how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the associates, they appeared in this world, especially the 5 tattas, the Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, Gadadhar, Advaita and Srivas, along with other devotees, how they have started this congregational movement, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra throughout the India, and he has distributed Krishna. So here it has been written as a Ekela Malakar Ami Kaha Kaha Jabo Ekela Ba Kot Fal Padiya Bilabo. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that I am the gardener. So how can I alone do this work? How can I go to each places and distribute this fruit from this tree? What is that tree? Tree of devotion, Bhakti Vriksha. So how can I distribute the fruit of this tree to each and everyone? Because I'm a lonely person, I'm alone. So you please come forward and help with me. Ekela ba koto fal padiya bilam. And how can I pluck all the flower, all the fruits and distribute? Ekela uthaiya dite hoy parishram, keho pai, keho na pai, mone rahe bhram. If I try to pluck all the fruits from this tree of devotion, and the fruit of that tree is prem fal, the pure love of Godhead, then it is very exhausting for me because I'm alone. And then now I have doubt whether I'll be able to distribute to each and everyone because I'm alone. So I need help. So this is actually, you have to understand that this is Lord Chaitanya's special mercy on us, because the Lord doesn't need any help from us. He's the independent authority. He is the omnipotent person. Why do he need any help? Why does he need? He doesn't need actually. But out of his compassion, he is giving out the mercy in the form of preaching. So he's giving us the opportunity so that we can come forward, take up this preaching opportunity and distribute the pure love of God to each and everyone. অতএব আমি আজ্ঞা দিলু সবাকারে যাহা 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 তাহা প্রেম ফল দেহ যারে তারে. Therefore I give the summon. I am ordering you, please go door to door and distribute this love, this pure love of Godhead, this prema phal, the fruit of pure love of Godhead. Please go and distribute to each and everyone. And deho jare tare, whoever you meet, please distribute prema. Don't keep it with you. Whatever you got, don't keep it with you. You go and give this, distribute, share with others this fruit of your devotional service. না দিয়া বা এই ফল আর কি করিব, অতএব সব ফল দেহ, I'm sorry, একলা মালাকার আমি কত ফল খাবো, না দিয়া বা এই ফল আর কি করিব. How can I eat all these fruits? How can I relish prema? How can I relish pure love by myself alone? What will I do with all this prema phal? I'm alone. I cannot consume all these fruits. So therefore you come forward, take it, because there are unlimited fruits in this tree of devotion. So therefore there will be no shortage. You take up the fruits, go and distribute. না দিয়া বা এই ফল আর কি করিব, অতএব সব ফল দেহ যারে তারে খাইয়া হোক লোক অজর অমরে. Therefore you please take this fruit, distribute, let them be deathless. Ajar amar. Ajar means diseaseless. There'll be no old age and there'll be no death. Ajar. Jar means when somebody gets old. That's called jar in Sanskrit. Ajar means he'll never become old and he'll be deathless. He'll be amar. He'll never die. So let them be deathless. Let them be without any old age. That means that when we get the pure fruit, the pure love of Krishna, Krishna Prem, when we get Krishna Prem, then our life becomes immortal. We become immortal because we don't have to take birth again. We can join into Krishna's eternal pastimes. So therefore, we should take this opportunity. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving, is distributing, is giving us the opportunity. Come up and take up this service. Jagad Bapia More Habe Punna Khati Shukhi Hoya Lok More Gahive Kirti. So therefore, if you distribute this fruit, this Krishna Prem, then there will be a big there'll be big fame about me. Everybody will talk about my glories throughout the universe. I'll be very famous. So if you want to make me famous, which is our constitutional position, to make Krishna famous, to make Krishna in the center. So therefore, if you take up this service of distributing Krishna Prem, and thus everyone will come to know about, and thus they will be happy. Shukhi hoiya log more gahibe ke. Everyone will be happy, and they will go on appreciating this Krishna Prem of all. Bharat bhumite hoilo manushya janmajar janma sarthak kori karo paro upakar. So whoever got birth in the holy land of Bharata, they should take up this service. First, you make your life successful, and then you go on distributing this. Making our own life successful means we have to do achar, means practice. Practical implementation must be there, and then we should also do prachar. Paropakar. Paropakar. Paro means in Sanskrit, paro means best. There are different meanings. So one meaning is best. So the best upakar, the best benefit one can render to the humanity is to distribute Krishna Prem, to distribute the devotion of Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us the clarion call, and we should take up this wonderful opportunity, the rarest opportunity to become the part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement by preaching and distributing this Krishna Prema of Allah. So thus it has been described in the 9th chapter, and then we see in the 10th chapter there will be all the names of the different associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are like the branches in the tree of devotion. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the main trunk, and from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there are many branches and sub branches. So the branches of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are considered as branches, the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip, Nilachal, Vrindavan, South India, and other places. So there are a lot of names in this chapter. We are just going through few of their names. For example, Srivas Thakur, Chandrasekhar Acharya, then Pundarik Vidyanidhi Gangadhar, Shuklambar Brahmachari, Vasudev Datta, and Murari Gupta. These devotees were very intimate in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Navadvip pastime. Of course, there are many more devotees, but we have just randomly picked up few and important names from Navadvip Lila. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has other devotees in Nilachal who are Paramananda Puri, who was the god brother of Ishwar Puri. He was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual uncle and god brother of Ishwar Puri. And then Sharup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, they are the most intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Nilachal Lila. In fact, they are the most intimate in the entire Lila of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sharup Damodar and Ramananda Rai. And then there was Shabhu Bhattacharya, there was Kashmishra, King Pratap Rudra, Govinda and Kashishwar. These two devotees, Govinda and Kashishwar, they were actually Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal servant. Govinda was a personal servant. He was the secretary. Personal servant. Secretary was Sharup Damodar. The personal servant was Govinda, and Kashishwar was the bodyguard. He was the bodyguard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nilachal. Later on, Mahaprabhu sent him to Vrindavan to do bhajan with the 6 Goswamis. And then we have Shivananda Sen, Jagadananda, Bakrishwar, Haridas Thakur. Some of these devotees, for example, Shivananda, Jagadananda, Bakrishwar, Haridas Thakur, they were also associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip Lila. And later on, they moved to Nilachal Puri along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after his sannyas. And then there are other devotees from Vrindavan, from South India, for example, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. They are originally from South India, from Karnataka, and later on their forefathers, they built their houses in Bengal, and from Bengal they again joined with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nilachal Puri, and later on Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed them to go and do bhajan in Shri Vrindavan Dham and distribute the Bhakti Shastras, the scriptures of devotion, and find out the old places like Radha Kunda, Sham Kunda, and also to establish deity worship. And there are other devotees like Raghunath Das Goswami. Balbhadra Bhattacharya was the companion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while Mahaprabhu was having his Vrindavan tour. So that time Balbhadra Bhattacharya was with Mahaprabhu. Then Kala Krishna Das, he was the associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his South India tour. And Chandrasekhar Vaidya and Tapan Mishra, these two devotees are from Varanasi, they are from Benares, Kashi. And Raghunath Bhatta, he was also, he is the son of Tapan Mishra. So these devotees are from other parts of India who at that time joined with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastimes. In chapter 11, we see the branches of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and we can go through the names like Janava Mata, who is the wife of Nityananda Prabhu, and Virabhadra Prabhu, he was the son of Nityananda Prabhu. Ramdas Abhiram, Kadadhar Das, Madhav and Vasudev Ghosh, all these names I have mentioned here, they're all very close associates of Nityananda. And as I was saying that definitely there are many more devotees in the past times, but we have randomly picked a few of the names. Here we can see the Surya Das Sarkel, he was the father-in-law of Nityananda Prabhu, and Janaba and Vasudha's father, Surya Das Sarkel. His brother was Gauri Das Pandit. Then we have most famous Vrindavan Das Thakur, who was the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Jagdish Pandit, Sadashiv Kabiraj, Kamalakar Pipla, Sundarananda, Minketan Ramdas. All these devotees, actually, especially they were the eternal associates of Lord Balaram in his Vrindavan Lila. So they appeared in different forms in Chaitanya Lila as Nityananda Prabhu's associates. And then we see in the chapter 12, there are the branches of Advaita Acharya and Gadadhar Pandit. There, all of their names are mentioned in that particular chapter. And these devotees are mostly they are inclined more to Advaita Acharya and Gadadhar Pandit. So they are called as branches of Advaita Acharya. And in the chapter number 13, there will be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent. But why we have taken time to read out few of the names? What is the particular reason? So Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta says in this regard that 18 skandero koilu shakhar ganan ja sabar smarane bhavo bandha vimochan ja sabar smarane pai chaitanya charan ja sabar smarane হয় বাঞ্ছিত পুরাণ অতএব তা সবার বন্দিয়া চরণ চৈতন্য মালির কহি লীলা অনুক্রম. This is very important to remember, to recall the names of the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? Because Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that simply by remembering the names of all these branches and sub branches of these three trunks, what will achieve actually? One attains freedom from the entanglement of the material existence. And simply by remembering the names of all these Vaishnavas, one can attain the Lord's feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And simply by remembering their holy names, one achieves the fulfillment of all desires. Therefore, we are offering our humble obeisances to all the innumerable devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastimes. Okay, so chapter 13 will be describing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's advent, how Mahaprabhu appeared. On the day of Falguna Purnima, Falguna, according to English calendar, it will be the month of March, mid-February to mid-March is called Falguna. So in that Falguna month, on the full moon day, on the full moon evening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared as the son of Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra. On the first class, we have already discussed on the first session that why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. His external reason of appearance and internal reason of appearance. So he accepted Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, who were previously Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda in Prajalila. So he took birth accepting these two exalted souls, most exalted souls, Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra as his parents. And on that evening, there's a wonderful description in Chaitanya Charitamrta and in Chaitanya Bhagavat that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, then everyone in Navadvip was so happy. They were so happy that even the most fallen souls and the very insignificant persons, the sinful people, everyone was chanting Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Everyone was chanting loudly Hari Bol because that was the lunar eclipse. And according to Indian culture, Vedic tradition, if there is an eclipse, then one becomes impure. So to become pure again, they have to take deep bath into Ganga. So everyone was running towards the Ganges, and all of the inhabitants of Navadvip, whoever came there, the narration is that there are thousands of people. They were running towards the Ganges, and they're all chanting Hari Hari, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Everyone is chanting. So it has been described that actually this was Lord's arrangement, that when Lord will appear, everyone will chant Hare Krishna Mahaprabhu. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to distribute Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So therefore, from the very beginning of his life, even when he was appearing, from that moment itself, he made everyone to chant Hare Krishna. So everyone was chanting Hare Krishna. So that has been described in this chapter. Hari Hari bole lok haroshito hoiya janmila chaitanya prabhu naam janmaya. Everyone was chanting Hari Hari, and in the midst of that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. That means he himself not only appeared, he also made the naam, the name of Lord, also be appeared with him at that time. Ballo bhav chale prabhu karena krandan Krishna Hari naam shuni rahoe rodon অতএব হরি হরি বলে নগরী নারীগণ দেখিতে আইসে সবে সর্ববন্ধুজন গৌর হরি বলি তারে হাসে সর্বনারী অতএব হইল তার নাম গৌর হরি. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he took part, he was a little boy and he was crying. As you know, the small babies, they're always crying, making a big noise. They're crying, and all the ladies would come to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They would pinch him, and Mahaprabhu would get angry, and he was crying because he got hurt. He was manifesting his pastimes like ordinary man. So then when he was crying, so all the ladies in Navadvip, they're chanting Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Hari. And hearing the name of Hari, hearing the name of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the small boy, that small boy Nimai, he stopped. He would not cry. Then again, they would pinch him. And then again, Nimai would cry. And again, they would chant, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, and he would stop. So like that, it would go on like this, in this way. So all the ladies, they were they got very much delighted through this point, through this way, that how they made Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cry, and again he was normal. He stopped his crying just by hearing the name of Hari. So because his bodily complexion was molten gold, that means in Bengal or in Sanskrit it is called as, in Bengal it is called as Gauravarna. Gauravarna means one whose bodily complexion is molten gold. And the ladies would chant Hari Hari. So therefore they would call this little boy as Gaura Hari, because he looks like his bodily complexion is like gold, and whenever he hears the name of Hari, he would stop crying. So therefore they gave the name Gaura Hari. So there are wonderful narration of this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth, his advent in Chaitanya Charitamrta and Chaitanya Bhagavat also. In this chapter, especially in chapter 13th of Chaitanya Charitamrita, is nicely described. And then the next chapter, chapter 14, it gives the various pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his early childhood. Lord Nimai, he would be called by Nimai from all the inhabitants of Navadvip. That was his nickname in his childhood. So all the inhabitants, the residents of Navadvip, they would watch, they would observe the pastimes of Nimai, and they all become very happy by seeing, because Lord's pastimes are always blissful. So in his childhood, he would do various things, various pastimes. Like one time, one sannyasi came, was a mendicant. He would travel from one place to another place. So he came, and he was invited by Jagannath Mishra, Lord Chaitanya's father, and Jagannath Mishra hosted him for 3 days. And when he came, he requested him, you please offer bhoga to Lord and take prasad. So that sannyasi, he cooked some bhoga and offered it to Lord. But when he offered, every time Nimai would come. Every time Nimai would come, and he would eat the prasad. So like this 1, 2, 3 times it happened. I'm just making it short because we are just giving the overviews. So in that way, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as his when he was a small boy, he would make everyone happy. So that Brahmana, that sannyasi, when he saw that Lord Nimai, that small boy Nimai, he was coming, and every time he was contaminating his bhoga, which he wanted to offer to his Ishtadev, his worshipable Lord Gopal, and Nimai would come and he would touch that food, he would eat that food. He became very upset and he started to cry. That how can I stop this boy? This boy is always disturbing me. I'm offering, and every time he's coming and taking. So 1, 2, 3 times, and the the parents of Lord Nimai, Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Mata, they requested that sannyasi, you please offer bhog again. So in this way, he would prepare food, bhoga, and he would offer, but Lord Nimai was contaminating him. So it was midnight. And they put him in sleep. Lord Nimai, they put him in sleep. But again, when the sannyasi, he cooked and he rang the bell and he was chanting Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagad Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Again, Nimai would come. So nobody could see him because everyone was sleeping. But because they could not understand that this little Nimai is actually none other than Lord himself. So even though the door was locked, but he could come out and he would take the offering from that Brahman. So that Brahman finally he was crying, hey, what happened? Every time I'm offering and this boy is so naughty that he's coming and disturbing me. He's really a big nuisance. So how can I be free from you? So that mendicant, that sannyasi was crying loudly. Then Nimai said, hey, why are you crying? Every time you are calling me and then you are crying. It is not, it's not accepted because you are calling me, I am taking the food and then you are crying. So then the mendicant said that I did not call you. I offered the bhoga to my worshipable deity, that's Lord Gopal. I am not calling you. Then Nimai said, you see who am I? Who I am, you see now. Then Nimai, he took the form of Gopal, and that sannyasi was so happy and he became amazed and he got fainted. And Nimai said, don't disclose this to anyone because I appeared now as a devotee in this age of Kali. So in this way, one time Nimai would catch a snake and everyone was so upset. And the Mother Sachi, she got fainted because when she saw that her small baby, Nimai, and he was playing with a snake, she could not accept it at all. So she could not see it. She got fainted. But nobody could understand that actually this snake was, it was not any ordinary snake. Actually, it was, this serpent was the original serpent, Anantashesh, Nityananda Prabhu. In his another form is Anantashesh, Balaram. He takes the form of a serpent. So then he would play with that snake. And one time two thieves came. Those two thieves, they took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai, and then finally they were in an illusion. They could not understand, and they would travel to this house, that house, and finally they would again come back to the house of Jagannath Mishra, and they put Nimai down there. They went back. Actually, they ran away. So like this, there are many wonderful pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his childhood. In the chapter 15, we can see Mahaprabhu's Poganda pastimes. Poganda means the age between 5 to 10. At that time, Mahaprabhu would, it has been narrated in Chaitanya Caritamrta that he would eat mud. One day he was eating mud. So Sachimata, just like Krishna. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai, that small Nimai would eat mud. And when he was eating mud, then Mother Sachi came, why are you eating mud? No, everything is same. Then he was describing, he was narrating, he went on narrating the 8 elements, the fire, water, earth, air, mind, intelligence, false ego, and he gave a wonderful class there. Sachimata was awestruck to hear all these narrations from that small baby Nimai. And another day when Jagannath Mishra, he stopped Nimai to go to school because he thought that his elder brother Vishwarup, he was studying a lot under Advaita Acharya. So Mahaprabhu's elder brother, Nimai's elder brother Vishwarup, he took sannyas on his very early age. And Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata, especially Sachimata, she thought that this was the influence by Advaita Acharya. So they stopped Nimai's school, because if he goes to school, he will be an educated boy, and after some time when he will understand, he will read scriptures, he will understand that okay, this material life is useless, why should we be here, so let us all worship Krishna and dedicate our life for Krishna. So then I will also go to sannyas. So out of that fear, they stopped Nimai's education. So Nimai became very angry, and he sat on the plates which was offered to Krishna. Those plates, when we throw it to the dustbin or the trash, on that place, on that muchi place, the so-called muchi place, Nimai would go and sit there. So Sachi Mata, Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra, they would come and they would cry, hey, why are you sitting there? This place is not good. You are a Brahmin boy. You should be clean. Cleanliness is one of our standard. You should not be unclean. Please come back and now take shower. But no, I don't want to come. If you allow me to study in the school, then then will I come back. Otherwise, I don't want to come back from this place. I will be sitting here. So it was like a strike. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nimai would sit on a strike that no, this is my demand. You have to allow me to go to school. So in this way, Lord actually manifested his pastimes just like a ordinary human being, even though he was not in a human. So in the next chapter, we see in the chapter 16, we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Kaishar pastimes, his pre-youth pastimes. At that time, he would defeat the Keshav Kashmiri, the world famous learned scholar Keshav Kashmiri came, and Mahaprabhu would defeat him very easily. We are not going to the pastime because it will take a lot of time. We are just going through the different topics of each chapter. Then at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he traveled to East Bengal. He went to Bangladesh, the current Bangladesh, East Bengal. He traveled there. He taught few students over there. Then before he went, he married Lakshmi Priya, his first wife. And then when he came back, he started his own school. He started to teach his students in the school. So those things we'll be describing in the next chapter, on the chapter 17. And that time Mahaprabhu, he traveled to Gaya to offer oblations for his father, his deceased father. Jagannath Mishra, by that time he passed away, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Gaya to offer Pinda, Tarpana Kriya, to do Tarpana Kriya for his father. And there he met his spiritual master Ishwarpuri. He took initiation from Ishwarpuri. When he saw the Vishnu Pada Padma, the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, he fainted. He got fainted and he cried a lot. And he prayed to Ishwarpuri to give him initiation and thus make his life successful by taking initiation. So he got initiated by Ishwarpuri there in Gaya. And then when he came back to Navadvip, he manifested all the transcendental ecstatic mood. And he was weeping. Every day he would weep, he would sob, he would cry loudly sometime for Krishna. So seeing all these things, the residents of Navadvip, they thought that this Nimai, he now came back from Gaya, but actually he became a mad, because before he was not like this. But as soon as he came back from Gaya, he now behaving abnormally. What happened to him? So they thought that this boy needs treatment. So they are calling some doctors, but whoever would come, they would see him, but they said, no, there's no problem with him. He's completely fine. Because one person came and he said, no, maybe there is some imbalance in his kapha, pitta and vayu. So you can do this, you can do that. They'll give some prescriptions. But Nimai, Lord Nimai or Gaurahari, he would not be happy hearing their suggestions, hearing their recommendations. And finally, Srivas Pandit came and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, what do you think about me? So Srivas Pandit says, you don't have any disease at all. This is the ecstatic symptom of pure love of Godhead. Even I myself wish to get that. So that was Srivas Thakur's comment on that. Mahaprabhu became very happy. And then we again see in this chapter that how Nityananda Prabhu, he was united with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu actually did all these things as we were discussing the first session on the last week, Friday, that these things were widely narrated, elaborately narrated in Chaitanya Bhagavad, because this was pre-sannyas pastimes. But in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he just touched this point and he went on describing the later pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they both met at the house of Nandanacharya. And then Mahaprabhu, after meeting Nityananda Prabhu, he starts Sankirtana movement. And also we see in the next chapter, in chapter 16, when it says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, youthful pastimes. Actually, I'm sorry, the chapter we are discussing about chapter 70. Yes, in the chapter 70, we see that Mahaprabhu's various pastimes with his devotees like Shuklambar Brahmachari, Srivas Thakur, Murari. Then there are different sort of pastimes, different mellows, individual exchanges between all these devotees and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu, one day he went on Sankirtan with all the devotees, and devotees are very much exhausted after the whole day Sankirtan. Then Mahaprabhu could realize that, and he sowed one mango seed on the earth, and immediately that seed, it became a big tree. It sprouted and it became a big tree within few moments. And from that tree there are hundreds of mangoes, and all are ripened mangoes. So Mahaprabhu distributed a few hundred mangoes to all the devotees, and devotees are eating those mangoes. They are all special, very, very special mangoes, which we cannot find nowadays in the market. What was the specialty of those mangoes? There is no seed inside, there is no skin outside. Only the middle sweet, juicy portion was there. And everyone was taking that mango and they were very happy. Like that, Mahaprabhu would every day feed his devotees from that mango tree. So this is that tree, that place is in Godrum Deep now, in Navadip Dham. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's a very interesting pastime between Advaita Acharya and Mahaprabhu, when Mahaprabhu apparently gave some punishment to Advaita Acharya, but actually it was a sweet dealings between the two lords. And then there's a narration about Gopal Chapal, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they delivered Jagai and Madhai, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he delivered Chand Kaji. All these things are described in his youthful pastimes. But as I said earlier, that these things, if you want to know it more detailed, then you have to refer to Chaitanya Bhagavad, not Chaitanya Charitamrita, because Chaitanya Bhagavad has described these pastimes more actually. And again, we see that during Mahaprabhu's youth, at that time he was married with Vishnu Priya Devi in his second marriage. And after that, Mahaprabhu, when he started the Sankirtana movement, as we have seen before, that from Srivas Thakur's house he has started the Sankirtana movement. Then Mahaprabhu was feeling separation from Krishna. And when he was feeling separation from Krishna, he would cry a lot. He could not talk to anybody. He was only crying, day and night he was crying. And he was searching, where is my Lord of life? Where is my Prananath, my Lord of life, Krishna? So in this way, he would sob the whole night. And one day Mahaprabhu, he expressed his heart to Nityananda Prabhu. He told Nityananda Prabhu that I am to take sannyas. There are many reasons actually. For example, the local inhabitants of Navadip, some of them, they were very much offensive to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because they would not understand his exalted position. So therefore, they would make offense unto him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought that if I take sannyas, then everyone they will offer respect to me, and in this way they can get their offenses can get forgiven. So therefore I am to take sannyas. And also this is secondary reason. The main reason is that if I am here in the house, then who is going to distribute this Krishna prem? So therefore let me take sannyas, go door to door, go house to house, and I will distribute. So he took sannyas. And this narration of sannyas is being nicely described in Chaitanya Mangal. You might be remembering on the first session on the last Friday, we are discussing about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are uh, being described by different devotees in different times. And one of them was Lochan Das Thakur, who has penned down this wonderful, amazing book, Chaitanya Mangal. In that Chaitanya Mangal, this pastime of Mahaprabhu taking sannyas is very elaborately explained in that book. So thus we end this Adi Lila, and we are just seeing it on a glance. You can read it from the screen itself. I don't have to read even because we have discussed this on the previous day. So all this 17th chapter are describing Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Navadvip. Well, let's move on to the Madhya Lila. So the overview of Madhya Lila is that we can see in chapter 1, and the first chapter, there'll be actually, that is the synopsis of the whole Madhya Lila. We can say the synopsis, actually, the first chapter. And the actual pastimes begins from the chapter 2. There'll be ecstatic manifestation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, and Mahaprabhu, he travels to Advaita Acharya's house. And the next chapter, the pastimes of Madhavendra Puripad is mentioned. And chapter 5 has been described about the Shakti Gopal, the story of Shakti Gopal, pastimes of Shakti Gopal. Then on the 6th chapter, there will be this narration about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he entered into Jagannath Puri and he delivered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And the 7th chapter will describe about Mahaprabhu's, he starts his tour to South India. And on the 8th chapter, Mahaprabhu meets with Ramananda Rai. And there will be wonderful discussion between this two most exalted personalities, Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai. Chapter 9 will be describing about Mahaprabhu's travel to other holy places in the whole South India. And then chapter 9 will be describing how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chapter 10, it will describe about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he came back to Jagannath Puri. Then in chapter 11, there will be a narration. There will be a super amazing narration of Mahaprabhu's Kirtan pastimes in front of Lord Jagannath during the Rath Yatra. And then there will be narration about how Mahaprabhu engaged all the devotees in cleansing the Gundicha temple. The famous Gundicha Marjan, you might be aware about that. The previous day of Rath Yatra, we do this Gundicha Marjan. So this Gundicha Marjan, or the cleansing of Gundicha temple, is a very important chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrta in Madhya Lila. Then Lord's ecstatic dance in front of the Rath Yatra, in front of the Ratha cart. Then there will be narration about how Krishna has performed his Vrindavana pastimes, though it is in Gaulila, but actually while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exchanging his moods, his various moods with the Lord Jagannath, there he talks in the mood of Radharani as if Lord Jagannath is Lord Krishna. So to that in that context, there will be narration about Vrindavan pastimes. And in the next chapter will be how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became the guest of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had wonderful feast for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That narration will be there. And in chapter 16, there will be description how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he attempted to go to Vrindavan, and then ultimately he could travel to Vrindavan in the next chapter. And the chapter 18 will tell about Mahaprabhu's visit throughout the Vrindavan, whatever the places he would see in Vrindavan, how he's spent his time in Vrindavan. Then chapter 19 will be describing about Mahaprabhu's Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami in Prayag. In Prayagraj, he would meet Rupa Goswami and he would give instructions to Rupa Goswami, who is the famous Rupa Shiksha in Chaitanya Charitamrta. And in the next chapter will be the narration about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He instructs to Sanatana Goswami. And then chapter 21 will be the continuation of that teachings to Sanatana Goswami. And chapter 22 will be same, the continuation of Sanatana Shiksha. Mahaprabhu is going on giving various teachings and instructions to Sanatana Goswami. And 22, 23, 24, all these things are actually Mahaprabhu's narrations, his different instructions to Sanatana Goswami. Then in chapter 25, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he made all the Varanasi residents as Vaishnava. There are many Mayavadis in Varanasi and Mahaprabhu made all them devotees. So like this Madhalila will be end up. So let us see one by one the chapters. As we are seeing, these are all the synopsis. So therefore, we don't expect that we will get time to discuss everything elaborately. That is not possible here. So in the chapter 1, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas, he went to the house of Advaita Acharya, but he was tricked by Nityananda Prabhu. And Nityananda Prabhu tricked him because all the residents of Navadvip, they were very much unhappy and they were full of sorrow among everybody's heart because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas, they will not see him again. So therefore, Nityananda Prabhu tricked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he brought him back to Advaita Acharya's house. And then finally they traveled to Jagannath Puri. Anyway, so in that first chapter, it has been described how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appointed Nityananda Prabhu to take charge of Bengal. So the Bengal part of India is specially placed by Nityananda Prabhu. So the Bengali devotees and the Bengal is very famous for being very much attached to Nityananda Prabhu because that was his Gauradatta Desh. That's called Gauradatta Desh. That means Lord or Guru has given some particular place of preaching. Prabhudatta Desh, Prabhudatta Desh. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has assigned Bengal to Nityananda Prabhu that you go and preach in Bengal. So therefore Nityananda Prabhu, he came back to Bengal because first he traveled with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Nilachal Puri, but then he came back to Bengal on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there is description about how Mahaprabhu, he met Rupa and Sanatana Goswami in Ramkeli, on the place. It is a very famous place in Bengal, in the North Bengal. It is called as Malda. In the Malda district, there is a place called Ramkeli, where Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they were the prime minister and the finance minister of the then Nawab of Bengal, Alauddin Hussain Shah. Those who are familiar with the Indian history, they know, they are familiar with the name Alauddin, Nawab Alauddin Hussain Shah. During Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, he was the Nawab of Bengal. And Rupa Goswami was his finance minister and Sanatana Goswami was his prime minister. So they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there in Ramkeli and they are so much attached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore they fall flat on Mahaprabhu's feet, lotus feet, and they begged his mercy so that they can be they can be able to come out of that government job and they could be always with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in that chapter, it is very slightly touched in that chapter, because that will be again describing the later chapters. And there will be the synopsis of the whole Madhya Lila in the first chapter. The chapter 2, it is describing about the ecstatic manifestations of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nirantara hoy prabhur birah unmad, brahmamoy chesta sada pralapamaya bad. উপবন উদ্যান দেখি বৃন্দাবন জ্ঞান, তাহা যায় নাচে গায় ক্ষণে মূর্ছা যায়. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at that time, he when he took sannyas, actually that time itself he became mad for Krishna. He became mad for Krishna, and he was heavily crying for Krishna. How can I get Krishna? Where can I get Krishna? Where can I go and I can find Krishna? So in that state of mind, it was like a madness of separation from Krishna. So sometime he would cry, sometime he would laugh, sometime he would sing, sometime he would just jump, and then finally he would faint. He would get fainted. So in this way, this happened with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he was the personification of all these ecstatic moods of Krishna prema. Kaha mor prananath murali badan, kaha karo kaha jao, kaha pao brajendra nandan. Brajendra nandan binu fate mor buk, kahare kohibo keba bujhe mor jane mor duk. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was crying that where is my Lord? Where is my Lord? Where should I go? Where can I find him? What shall I do now? Where can I get the son of Maharaj Nanda? To whom should I speak? Kahare kohibo? To whom I should speak? To whom I can share my heart? Because I'm not getting Krishna. So I'm so unfortunate that I lost Krishna. I don't have Krishna, so I want Krishna. Who can understand my disappointment? So in this way, with a heartbroken mood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would always lament. He would always cry for Krishna. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? In the next chapter, Mahaprabhu, he travels to Advaita Acharya's house. And the third chapter, it has been described. And he would take prasad. There's a big feast, a Chapanbhog feast in Advaita Acharya's house. Actually, in fact, not Chapanbhog, there's many more items than Chapanbhog. So many items were cooked by the wife of Advaita Acharya, Sita Thakurani. So that narration is there in that third chapter, where we can see that Mahaprabhu traveled to his house, and there is a funny pastimes between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Acharya. All these things will be described in this chapter 3. And in the next chapter, chapter 4, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his travel to Jagannath Puri. And on the way, they reached to Remuna, Baleshwar. This is the place, this is the first place, I mean, the gateway of Odisha. From Bengal, when one travels to Odisha, the first place is Baleshwar. And there is a wonderful place, very beautiful with scenic beauty. And that place is called as Remuna. In that place, when Lord Chaitanya and all the associates, they would reach that place, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go on describing about this different pastimes, about the special narrations of Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri's devotional service, his bhakti will be describing in this chapter. And tomorrow is the most auspicious Chandan Yatra day, Akshaya Tritiya, the first day of Chandan Yatra. And actually, incidentally, we are on the eve of Chandan Yatra. So on the eve of Chandan Yatra, we want to humbly remember the lotus feet of Srila Madhavendra Puripad, who was the first person in the history who did this Chandan Yatra festival. And more interestingly, Lord himself asked Madhavendra Puripad to do this Chandana Seva for him. Wow. Such an amazing Vaishnava, so fortunate Vaishnava, Mahabhagavat, Madhavendra Puripad, who was personally requested by Lord, please do this Chandan Seva for me. I'm waiting for you. So that wonderful narration is there in the chapter 4, where Madhavendra Puripad, Lord would personally bring milk for Madhavendra Puri. And yeah, all these wonderful pastimes, how Madhavendra Puripad, he established the Gopal deity on the top of Govardhana mountain, and then he would travel to Vrindavan. From Vrindavan, he would travel to Odisha to get the Chandan for Lord. And on his way back, he stopped on that place, Remuna, and he offered the Chandan to Gopinath. And Gopinath, before that, Gopinath would still kheer for him, because he has stolen kheer for him, the sweet rice or kheer for him. Therefore, this Lord is called as Kheer Chora Gopinath or Kheer Chora Hari. পূর্বে মাধবপুরীর লাগি ক্ষীর কইলা চুরি, অতএব নাম হইল ক্ষীর চোরা হরি. Because Lord has stolen kheer, he had personally stolen kheer for Madhavendra Puripad. Therefore, that particular deity in Remuna, if some of you have, if any of you have visited that place, you are so fortunate. If some of you have not visited, then please take the opportunity whenever you are in India, or those who are already in India, they can take the opportunity to go to Remuna. Of course, after this lockdown situation, you can travel to Remuna, and you can have the darshan of the beautiful deity of Sri Chara Gopinath. So Lord was saying that I have been waiting for you. When will you come? Bahudin tomar path kori nirikhan. I have been waiting for long. When will you come? When will you serve me? Madhavendra Puri, when you will come? So that very sweet, heart-touching pastime is narrated in that particular chapter. The 5th chapter will be talking about the narration of Shakshi Gopal, and that was particularly spoken by Nityananda Prabhu. All these things are happening on the way when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is traveling to Jagannath Puri from Bengal after his sannyas. They're halting in each places, and this narrations, these wonderful pastimes are being spoken by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or by Lord Nityananda Prabhu in those places. So that Shakshi Gopal's pastime will be narrated in this specific chapter, how the Lord from Vrindavan, Gopal, he came all the way to Vidyanagar to give witness for a Brahmana. That pastime will be there. So as we are saying that we are not going into the pastime, because we are not able, will not be able to cover all the chapters if we go on describing each pastimes, but we are just touching, we're just giving some hints that this Brahman, there are two Brahmins. One is a small Brahmin, I mean the young Brahmin, and the old Brahmin. So how the old Brahmin, he promised to the young Brahmin that he will give his daughter in marriage to him. But then later on, when they came back from Vrindavan, the old Brahmin, with by the pressure from his family members, he said, no, I don't want to give the daughter to you. Then the young Brahmin said, but you have promised to Lord that you will give the daughter to me in marriage. So I don't want your daughter, I don't want to marry your daughter. That's not a must, that's not a mandatory thing for me. But since we have promised to Lord, therefore please do not break your words. Keep your words, otherwise it will be a big offense to the deity. So all the people, they said that what offense will be there, because the deity cannot speak. Deity is like a stone. He is a stone, or he's a wood, he's a wooden form or metal form. So how can you say that there will be an offense? So that young Brahmin, he became very enraged. He said, no, deity is not any wood or any stone form. He is Lord himself. I want to prove that. And yes, my Lord Gopal in Vrindavan was a witness when your father, he promised me that he will give his daughter in marriage to me. So therefore let me travel to Vrindavan. So he traveled to Vrindavan. He pleaded to Lord that, my dear Lord, he pleaded to the Lord, please come with me and come as a witness that this old Brahmin, he promised that he will give his daughter in marriage to me. So you please come. So then the Lord said, no, how is it possible? How is it possible? Because from where you said that the deity will walk, did you ever hear that deity is walking? Then the young Brahmin was very smart boy. He said, but I have never heard that deity can talk. If the deity can talk, he can walk also. Since you are talking, you can walk me also. So please come with me. So that way, by the dint of his pure devotion, he made Gopal, the Lord form, the stone form Gopal, but actually is Lord himself, to walk all the way from Vrindavan to Vidyanagar. They came back to Vidyanagar, and all the villagers, they gathered in front of the deity, and they understood. Pratima nahi tumi shakhat brajendra nandan vipralagi karo tumi akarjo karan. My dear Lord, you are not a statue. You are directly the son of Maharaj Nanda. Now, for the sake of old Brahmana, you can do something you have never done before. So that way he pleaded to the Lord, and Lord came. And at the end of that chapter, there'll be wonderful narration how Nityananda Prabhu, he had broken the sannyas danda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because that danda, which was carried by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was a pain for Nityananda Prabhu. It was a big pain, because Nityananda Prabhu could not tolerate that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Because of his sannyas, all the inhabitants of Navadvip, they are in great separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every time he would see the danda, he would become very angry. Because we all want to carry the load of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is the Lord of the universes. So why should he carry a small, dry bamboo stick? So I don't want that Lord Chaitanya carries this bamboo stick. So he took that bamboo stick, that danda, sannyas danda. You know, all the sannyasis, they carry their danda. So Nityananda Prabhu, he took that danda and he broken that danda into 3 pieces, and then he threw it in the Vargi river. So there is a very amazing pastime narrated in this chapter. And the next chapter, on the chapter 6, there will be narration how from Dandabhanga, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all his associates, he would travel to Jagannath Puri, he would enter, and then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing Kadachit Kalindi Tata Vipina Sangita Taralo Muda Virinari Vadana Kamala Shadamadhupa Rama Shambhu Brahma Marapati Ganesharchito Pado Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatume. So Lord would pray to Jagannath Dev, and he entered into the Sri Mandir, the Jagannath temple. But just by seeing Jagannath Dev, he could not resist himself. He fell unconscious. And all the servants of the Sri Mandir, the temple, they came running. And then, who is that person? How daring is he? He came to touch Lord's divine body. So let us beat him. So they wanted to beat Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because they did not know who is this personality. So at that time, Sarvam Bhattacharya, he came running. And Sarvam Bhattacharya, he said that, no, you don't do this. You take this person in my house. I'll take care of him. Because it seems that he's a very exalted personality. Just by seeing him, just by his appearance, I can understand that he's a very special personality. So let me take him to my house and I'll take care of him. So in that way, Sarvam Bhattacharya, he took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his house, but Sarvam Bhattacharya could not understand that this wonderful personality is none other than the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Person of Godhead himself. So when he took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his house, then all the other associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they came to Sarvabhaumacharya house to see Mahaprabhu's condition there. And by that time, Mahaprabhu, he came back to the normal consciousness, in his external consciousness, and he was talking very politely, very humbly to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's brother-in-law was Gopinath Patnaik. So that Gopinath Patnaik, Gopinath Acharya, what you'd also call him as Gopinath Patnaik. So that Gopinath Acharya said, you don't know this person. He's not an ordinary man. He's not an ordinary sannyasi even. He is the Supreme Person of God. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya would not agree with that. And he would fight. He would say, no, how can you say that this person is God? Am I supposed to believe that? What is the Shastric proof for that? Then Gopinath Acharya, he gave so many references from Shastra that how in this age of Kali, and Lord has appeared as the sannyasi. So anyway, then finally this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he wanted to teach Vedanta philosophy to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's a funny part, because he did not know, he could not understand that how can he teach this personality who is Lord himself. Anyway, Lord took the humble position. He said, yes, this is my good fortune that such a scholarly person like you is willing to give me education in Vedanta philosophy. Please go on. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he had an arrangement where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sat very calm and quiet, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya would give class for at a stretch 7 days and 7 nights. So after that 7 days and 7 night class, this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asking that, Mr. or my dear Krishna Chaitanya, your name is Krishna Chaitanya. So what did you understand from my lecture? Because I have been lecturing you for last 7 days. So what did you understand? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I could understand whatever you have said, everything I could understand very nicely. The slokas I could understand, but I don't understand your explanation. Your commentary I don't understand, but I understand your slokas. The Vedanta Sutras I can understand. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a little bit surprised to hear that. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, Manigopal Prabhu.
there's a
Yeah, I think
yes,
power
Prabhu. Can you hear
blackout,
me?
right? Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, when he was giving this Vedanta philosophy lecture to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would peacefully, very quietly, with complete silence, he heard all of his lectures all these 7 days. And after Bhattacharya asked him, what did you understand? Then he said, I didn't understand your commentary, explanation, but I understood the slokas nicely. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was surprised to hear that, because usually people doesn't understand the shloka, they understand the commentary, they understand the purport. But you say you don't understand purport, but you understand shloka. What do you mean? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his arguments. He put forward his arguments that you, Sarvabhaum, has intentionally, you have twisted, you have distorted the meaning of Vedanta philosophy. because you are not supposed to give any indirect meaning. All these Vedanta sutras, they have the direct meaning, where it has been nicely described, clearly described. Krishna is the supreme person of Godhead, and he has a form. He is not formless. So how and why you are saying that Krishna doesn't have any form? Why you are giving me the Mayavad philosophy? Come on, you should accept the Bhakti philosophy. In that way, there is a wonderful narration in that chapter, in that 6th chapter of this Caitanya Charitamrita, how Mahaprabhu has defeated Shravan Bhattacharya, because Shravan Bhattacharya would not accept initially, but finally he was able to understand Mahaprabhu's points, and he became converted, or he converted. He was convinced in Vaishnava philosophy, and Shravan Bhattacharya became a wonderful Vaishnava, an exalted personality. So that narration will be there in this chapter. And then in the 7th chapter, there will be narration about how Lord begins his tour in South India. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts his tour in South India, he went on traveling to all the places in South India, in the Deccan, and village by village, he would travel one after another, and he would make everyone devotee. এই মতো কইলা যাব গেলা সেতু বন্ধে সর্বদেশ বৈষ্ণব হইল প্রভুর সম্বন্ধে. He went up to the extreme part of south. What is that part? Rameshwaram. The extreme south is Rameshwaram. How to travel to that place, Setubandha, and he made everyone Vaishnava. So the devotees from South India, I'm not sure how many of you are here from South India or from South India, but actually we should know from Chaitanya Charitamrita that actually the whole South India became Vaishnava during Mahaprabhu's time. Later on, I don't know what happened, and the people, they became again converted to like materialistic people. But actually during Mahaprabhu's time, the whole South India was Vaishnava, because that's the proof in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the entire South India, they accepted Vaishnavism, and all of them, they became wonderful Vaishnavas at that time. And everyone would sing Hari Hari, Krishna Krishna. Everyone would sing at that time in South India. So there is also a narration in this chapter about the leper Vasudev. There is another devotee whose name was Vasudev, who is a Brahmin, but he had leper. So that leper Vasudeva, when Mahaprabhu, he left that place was called as Kurmakshetra in South India. So when Mahaprabhu was leaving the place Kurmakshetra, and then he met this devotee. We are not going to the pastime now, but he met that person, that leper person. He was a leper person, and Mahaprabhu touched his body. He embraced him, and that person, he got freed from that leprosy, and he got his beautiful form again from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's blessings. And in chapter 8, there will be a description about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Rai, and there will be a discussion between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the 8th chapter, that Ramananda Sambad, where Mahaprabhu, he got introduced with Ramananda Rai, because Mahaprabhu was told by Sarvabhattacharya that when you travel to South India, please don't miss to meet with Ramananda Rai. He's a very highly exalted Vaishnava, and he's expert in all the transcendental mirrors. So please meet him and speak to him. So Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Rai, and after 10 days of discussion about Krishna Katha between them two, Mahaprabhu left Vidyanagar, and while leaving, Mahaprabhu told him, Vishaya Chariya tumi jahan nila chale, আমি তীর্থ করি তাহা আসিব অল্পকালে, দুইজনে নীলাচলে রহিব একসঙ্গে, সুখে গাইব কাল কৃষ্ণ কথা রঙ্গে. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, give up all material engagement and come to Jagannath Puri. I'll return there very soon after finishing my tour and pilgrimage. So then we two of us shall remain together in Jagannath Puri and will happily spend our time in discussing Krishna Katha. So please, you Ramananda, you come back. You please come to Nilachal Puridham. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is inviting Ramananda Rai to come to Jagannath Puri. So we are close to our time tonight. So you'll be ending up here, and the next session will be the next portion of Madhur Lila. Will be describing on that day. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Jai. Jai. Thank you, Manigopal Prabhu, for the wonderful session as usual.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Still blackout or
Hare
the power
Krishna.
club?
Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Now the power is
Yes,
back or
Hare Krishna.
still there is a blackout?
Prabhu, the power is back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, but there is your video is hanged. I think. Prabhu, are you there? Manigopal Prabhu? Hare Krishna Prabhu?
I'm sorry
Yeah.
for the inconvenience. There's some technical issues. Actually, power went off and then again came.
Okay. Not an issue, Prabhu. Still we enjoy. Thank you so very much. So we will meet again next week. Okay. So His Grace
Hey,
Manigopal
is there any
Prabhu.
questions?
Yeah, we'll ask. Yeah. Devotees, if you have any question, please
I'm not
unmute
sure
yourself.
if there is a question.
Yeah.
We can spend 5 more minutes. We have 2 more minutes left.
Sure, Prabhu.
Take some questions if anyone has.
Yes. Devotees, Hare Krishna. If you have any question, please unmute yourself and you can ask the Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Prabhuji, my question is, what was the reason that Lord Chaitanya, he had to travel to South India? What was the main reason? Why not other places? Why especially South India?
Okay. Gopal Prabhu? Yeah,
Hare
he's correct.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Manigopal Prabhu, I think we lost you for a few seconds. There is a
Yes.
question by Mataji. She's asking, why did Mahaprabhu visited only South India, not other places?
Interesting question. I think that we have to ask Mahaprabhu only. Because Lord's desire, how can we understand that? What I understand from this, that especially South India was a very fertile place to preach Krishna consciousness at that time. Even though Mahaprabhu, if you see that Mahaprabhu has extensively preached in South India, but it's not that Mahaprabhu had not visited other places. Mahaprabhu went to northern India in Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu went to Varanasi. Mahaprabhu went to Prayagraj. These all places are in North India. So, right? So North India also he has visited. So he has preached in North India also. In Varanasi, he made everyone, all the Mayavadis as Vaishnav. Mahaprabhu was in, Mahaprabhu started his movement in Navadip, which is Eastern India. Then he went to North India. Then he went to South India. So, and also, where is Pandharpur? Pandharpur is in Maharashtra, right? So that's That's almost the western border. I mean, the western India. So we can say that Mahaprabhu not only visited the Dakshinatha, the South India, but also he has visited other places. Why not? He went to west, he went to north also. But especially, I think the South Indian devotees are fortunate because Mahaprabhu had his longer stay in South India.
Thank you, Mahaprabhuji. Prabhu, I have this question. What was the mode of language what our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke? The mode of language, Prabhuji?
What is the language?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Since Mahaprabhu was in Bengal, so we can understand that Mahaprabhu spoke in Bengal, and all the biographies like Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Mangal and also Chaitanya Charitamrta, they whenever they're giving description about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so they're saying that they're quoting Mahaprabhu's words, Mahaprabhu's speeches. That's all in Bengali. So Mahaprabhu would speak in Bengali. But Mahaprabhu is Lord himself, so he could understand and he could speak all the languages, definitely. But his mother tongue was Bengali. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Manigopal Prabhu, when he was in South India, especially in the house of Venkat Bhatta, what was the media they were conversing? Is it I think it's Sanskrit, right?
Yes. Yes, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which language they spoke. Sanskrit. Because Mahaprabhu was a Sanskrit scholar, and Venkat Bhatta and Vallabhacharya, they all were Sanskrit scholars. Yes, probably they have spoken in Sanskrit. But who knows? Probably Mahaprabhu had spoken in Tamil also. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, all right. So if there is no other question, then I have another class from 9:30 in ISKCON Balaram Desh. So I beg your permission to leave now. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you once again, Manigopal Prabhu, for the wonderful session. We meet next Friday, same time, with the for the third week. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Manigopal Prabhu. Dandot Pranam. Thanks a lot for your time and your class. Very, very good. Thank you, Dandot Pranam.
Vancha kalpataruvasya kripasindhevach patitanam pavanebhyo
His Grace Manigopal Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Chaitanya Charitamrta ki jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Okay. So now we continue our journey with the Gaur Bhajans. To lead us Gaur Bhajan today, we have with us our wonderful devotees, Bodhini, Rishikesh, then Chasangi Mataji, and Sunil Madhva Prabhu. Yeah, you can start, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Chant the name of Hari, O brothers, with a blissful mind. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, birth after birth, in happiness. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, O brothers, you have obtained a human birth. Now chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, whether you are in happiness or distress. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, O brothers, whether in prosperity or misfortune. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, whether you live at home or in the forest. Chant the name of Hari, remaining in this material world for Krishna's purposes. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari. O brothers, give up the association of non-devotees and chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, falling on the feet of the devotees, Vaishnavas. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari. Chant the names of God and Nityananda. Chant the names of God and Gadadhara. Chant the names of God and Advaita. Ram Sankirtan ki Srila Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna. Ramana Desh ki
Hare Krishna, Bodhini. Thank you very much for the amazing Kirtan. Thank you, Harikesh. Thank you, Rasangi Mataji. Thank you, Sunil Madhva Prabhu. For the whole family, thank you very much. And Mataji, happy birthday, right? Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. So advance happy birthday. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Sunil Madhava Prabhu and family for the wonderful Kirtan. And Hare Krishna devotees, and what this course we are having, it is only the appetizer. Just to tell you what is there in Chaitanya Charitamrta. Okay. So in future, we will try to have a longer session with the more detailed study of this Chaitanya Charitamrta. So if anyone interested in buying these books, it's available in all the languages. It's available. It's available in English, Hindi, Marathi, Kannada, Bengali, Oriya, Gujarati, and Telugu and Tamil. So if anyone interested, please contact us. Contact Vidyagati Prabhu, Rupanuga Prabhu, Naikatma Prabhu, or also you can email at ebooks2gift@gmail.com, and we can also make arrangements for you to deliver these books in UAE, but there will be some courier charges. And also Prabhu was mentioning Akshaya Yatra in Dubai. Akshaya Yatra, Chandan Yatra started from today. Today is Akshaya Tritiya we are following in UAE. So, we are fortunate to hear the episode of Madhavendra Puri, where he started this Chandan Yatra. Okay. So, with that, we come to the end of this session, and we thank Indra Krishna Prabhu and Rupini Mataji for arranging this wonderful session, and as usual to Shivala Prabhu. So Indra Krishna Prabhu, do you have anything to say? Indra Krishna Prabhu, are you there?
Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Final concluding words.
So it's been a great evening, like the previous Friday also, when Mani Gopal Prabhu has very nicely, very succinctly, in very concise manner, he presented the Chaitanya Charitamrita, today the Madhya Leela and a part of the Adi Leela, sorry, part of the Adi Leela also. So it's a big scripture. It's a very deep scripture, and as people say, it is the post-graduate study. So it means obviously there is needed a lot of depth in that. But very many people, they don't get to start reading the Chaitanya because, as people say, they're post-graduate studies, so they delay it for some time. But this was like a appetizer, a taste for what the Chaitanya is, and like how nicely Prabhu was chanting the shlokas, no? The meter and the sweetness with which the shloka is chanted is also very important. And so Chaitanya Charitamrita has a lot of flavor. Mahaprabhu himself, and it's very recent, it's only 500 years back. So we can relate to the events and the incidents and the leelas so closely. And so there's like when we read the leelas, it looks like Mahaprabhu is having discussion with his associates, he's going prasadam with his associates, he's going to Puri, he's meeting Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's talking to him. It sometimes looks very simple, but the philosophy is deep, the understanding is deep, and Mahaprabhu is like he's Krishna himself. So for us to understand Lord Krishna himself is doing this kind of leelas, it's sometimes not so easy. But with the blessings of Guru and Gauranga, and with the blessings of devotees, we can start to understand into the intricate leelas and the intricate dealings of Mahaprabhu with the associates. So it's been a great evening today, and hopefully today there were a little less number of people. I wish more people join because this is very special. That we get Mani Gopal to put a presentation like that, and we could see that they put a lot of effort in those presentations. So I would request all the devotees who attended today, and I'm pretty sure they gained a lot of out of it, to tell their friends, and because we, to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, I don't know how much time they will get, but at least to know what is in Chaitanya Charitamrita and the nice presentation PowerPoint slides that Prabhu has prepared, will at least get in your mind that this is all there is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So thank you, Jai Govind Prabhu and Radha Mataji for organizing and taking care of all the arrangements and putting this nice program together. And to all the devotees who attended the program today, it's been a good evening and great pleasure to be listening to the Kirtans by Sri Mother Prabhu's family also. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhu. Over to you, Jai Govind Prabhu. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
thank you, Krishna Prabhu. So with that, we come to the conclusion of today's program. So before we conclude, we offer our humble obeisances to all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are like a desire trees who can fulfill the desires of all conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, निताय गो प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल.
One very important person I forgot mentioning is great Sri Vallabh Prabhu. Actually, this whole program was conceived by him. That it, like we are talking a slightly different how to present this whole program. So he came with this idea of this overview, and I'm pretty sure that this is the right best thing to have done. So I really thank Sri Vallabh Prabhu for having come with this excellent idea of how the Chaitanya Charita should be presented. So it's all there. It's all blessed by the very most senior devotees also there down the Desh. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so with all your permission, we will end the session here. So we also thank Vasant Prabhu for doing the live streaming and also helping us in taking care of the technical part. Thank you, Vasant Prabhu. So we can end the session. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thanks a lot.